What is going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Bettor Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm YouTubes. Appreciate everyone jumping in on a Tuesday afternoon with us. Going solo today as the host, but I got a couple guests coming on to talk some hockey in just a second here. We got Chris Morais, one of Fantasy Alarm's hockey writers. He's going to give some bets and some picks out for tonight's slate in the NHL. And then my guy Pete Cole, him and me are the college basketball and college football duo at Fantasy Alarm. He's going to be jumping on as well to give some college hoops bets and props out for tonight's games. Big slate. These Tuesdays are always big for college basketball now that we are into conference season. So, if with the NFL or any other sport, college football now over, you want to jump into some college hoops, me and Pete are going to help you out doing that. But always the NHL is in full swing. So we'll have Chris Morais on in just a second here. Wanted to start out with just recapping what happened last night. We saw the Bills take care of the Steelers, and we saw the Eagles lose to the Buccaneers. My Eagles. It's been a pretty rough overnight and this morning, just kind of seeing all the national reaction, but if you're an Eagles fan, just like the local reaction to what happened, this collapse with the Eagles, it's been rough. But the silver lining in this, if you followed my picks on here, it's bittersweet because my Eagles did lose. I'm bummed about that, but my picks went 13-0, perfect this weekend in Wild Card Weekend. So I'm feeling good about that, but yeah, as our producer put this together, producer Adam Bernard, this is pretty funny. Little Thanos shout out here because, I went 13-0 with my picks, but what did it cost me? It cost my Eagles getting knocked out, an early exit, just an epic collapse. I got they finished 1-6 after their really hot start. Started out 10-1 on the year. Now we got the Sixers, the Flyers, and the Phillies to look forward to if you are a Philly fan. So Eagles fans, jump in the chat here. This is your time to vent with me. But I will say, I got this. I got a shout out. This is Jason Kelsey in his Mummers costume from when they won the Super Bowl, and he gave his epic speech. Reports out there that Kelsey is retiring. So got to give a shout out to him because he is, I think nationally, he is recognized as kind of one of those best centers, whether, in recent memory, but also in NFL history. I think he is, my bias aside, I just think he is one of those, consummate pros, all pro center, basically in the conversation as the best center year after year. And reports are that he told the team in the locker room that he is retiring. So that's a huge loss, and he was huge to what the Eagles did in the run game on the tush push. He was a huge reason why the tush push was so successful. So it'll be interesting to see how successful they are with that sneak next year. But a huge loss for the Eagles, obviously in the game last night, but also with Kelsey reportedly retiring. But yeah, my picks went 13-0, so I felt really good about that. And me and Howard both gave out some winners on yesterday's show. I liked how, I just pivoted, dove a little bit deeper into, with A.J. Brown sitting out, and I threw out the Devontae Smith prop and the Julio Jones prop yesterday. In addition to all the Cade Otton props, which he had a huge game, which I saw coming. But the Devontae Smith, he was like basically the only guy that was playing for the Eagles last night. So it was, this team kind of collapsed, but at least Devontae Smith came out and balled out. And Julio, as I kind of assumed, he was going to step in to take on some of those targets. And before he got knocked out with a concussion, he at least went over his receptions prop that I gave out. So that cashed. But good and bad from the wild card weekend. Friday's show on this program here, we'll be giving out our bets for divisional round games. 4 games Saturday, Sunday. But some interesting matchups. I am very excited to see Chiefs Bills. That's going to be an awesome game. I think the Texans could keep it a little close against the Ravens, even though the spread's a little big there. And then we got the Packers, 49ers, and the last one is the Bucks Lions. So gonna be some fun games. I found it interesting though that now in the NFC, the quarterbacks remaining, it's what Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, and Baker Mayfield. And one of those guys is going to be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. So just how this sport goes. I will say right now, if you're looking at futures or anything after the wild card is wrapped up and now we know who these final teams are in the divisional round games, my winner's coming out of the AFC. I mean, this is give me the AFC, whether it's the Bills could do it, but I do think it's going to be the Ravens. But like the Chiefs are still very much live, even though they did not look like their dominant Chiefs self this year. I do think they're still live to win this Super Bowl, but I do think that the winner comes out of the AFC. I know the 49ers have been very strong, but I just think that the AFC is so much more firepower this year. And the NFC, a lot of the top teams now just completely slipping out here. The Cowboys and Eagles, both embarrassing losses in wild card weekend. So yeah, that's some wild card talk. And if you got any of your own bets, leans for divisional round games or bets for tonight, NHL, college basketball, NBA, anything you want to throw at us, hit us up in the chat here on YouTube. We always like you guys throwing out your own bets and picks, whether it's any sport really, but I know today we're going to be talking some hockey and some basketball. Before we talk some of those, I want to throw out a couple of my bets here before we bring on Chris Morais to talk some NHL here. One of the bets I'll throw out here right now is give me Indiana at home plus the points against Purdue. Listen, Purdue, I've faded them on the road last year, but I've done it this year and it's been successful, and I'll keep doing it until they can prove that they are not vulnerable on the road. We saw them lost to Nebraska last week on the road. They already lost to Northwestern on the road this year. They're 1-2 against the spread on the road so far. Last year on the road, this is a trend going back to these Purdue teams last few years. Last year on the road, 2-7-1 against the spread were Purdue. 2 years ago, 3-6-1 against the spread. So already 1-2 against the spread on the road with 2 outright losses. I think Indiana's a feisty team. They've definitely performed compared to obviously what their national view is of them being, Indiana, kind of a blue blood team. But this year, I think we all had a little bit higher expectations for them, but they've suffered a bunch of losses this year. But I do think they have the size to kind of frustrate Zach Edey down low in the paint here. Khalil Ware, transfer from Oregon. He's a true 7-footer. I think he can match up decent enough with Zach Edey there, but they also have Malik Renault, who's really good power forward wing presence, but can also give them size if Ware has to go out to kind of give some defense onto Edey. But Indiana also has Mackenzie Mbako on the wing that I think he's going to be kind of like an athletic mismatch against Purdue's wings. I struggle to see how Purdue, outside of Edey, they just have not gotten consistent production from their guards, from their other secondary scorers, especially on the road. It's really come back to bite them that if Edey, even when Zach Edey gets his points and does his thing, that if they just can't get enough production consistently from the other guys, it's a rough spot for them. So give me Indiana plus the 9.5. Found it very interesting. So last year, Indiana went 2-0 straight up against Purdue. Won both those games at home. That they pulled off the upset, and they've had Purdue's number, has Indiana, in recent meetings. They've beat them 3 times in the past 4 meetings, and also have covered the spread in 4 straight games against Purdue. So I don't see Indiana really getting blown out in this. Obviously, Purdue's so talented that they can do it to any team. But just like being on the road, I don't see this being a blowout win for Purdue. And I think, as always, throughout Nebraska last week, any team that's at home welcoming in Purdue is very live to pull off the outright upset. So I think you gotta think about that. So. All right, let's bring in Chris Morais, our hockey guy here. Give out some NHL bets and picks for tonight's slate. We got a pretty decent sized slate here. What's up, Chris? Thanks for jumping in, man.
Happy to be here, man. Hope you're doing well.
Doing great, dude. We always love having you on talking some hockey. You and Andrew Dewhurst, Josh Wagner, you guys are NHL guys at Fantasy Alarm. So if you haven't checked out their work, I know Chris is doing season long in DFS there at Fantasy Alarm. So check out his stuff as always with the All Pro subscription. I think the waiver wire articles are free though. So, but tonight we're talking betting here. And we have a number of teams on back-to-backs coming into tonight, which is it's always interesting for NHL, but in NBA too. Just any team coming on back-to-back. My instant lean is like looking to try to fade these teams and bet against them just because of the back-to-back instance. But we got 5 teams playing on back-to-backs. Any bets from any of those games that the back-to-back is kind of where you're focusing it on?
I would say that I also try to stay away from those back-to-backs just because, backup goalies get the starts, travel, and everything. But this does not apply to the Colorado Avalanche, who are in Ottawa tonight, because the Ottawa Senators are not a very good hockey team. They also give up a ton of scoring chances, a ton of shots. So I have decided it feels too risky to trust Colorado. Their goaltending is not very good. But watching them, I got to watch them play against Montreal yesterday, and that was fun to watch a NHL team basically dominate another NHL team for long stretches, specifically Colorado's top line. When Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, and Jonathan Drouin are on the ice, and then Makar and Devin Taves joins them, you can't stop them. You just hope that they don't terrorize you. So I'm going with the over here on Cale Makar's shot props at 3.5. I think that's just almost free money here. Colorado, like I said, they have one line and 2 really good defensemen. Makar played 30 minutes yesterday, and I don't see his ice time going down here. He's regularly seeing over 26 minutes a night. So opportunity here is key. The Senators are just terrible. There's like, I don't know how else we can put it there. It must be tough to watch them play hockey regularly. So I think Colorado's going to truck out their best line as often as they can, as much as they can. Their power play is lethal. Makar is on a whole other different planet. He's so fun to watch. He's so swift. He's so good. I think he's going to smash his over on shots here. I think it's probably closer to 5 in the game. So I think 3.5 is a pretty good spot for him.
Yeah, the total for that is at 7, which is not something you usually see in hockey. So Vegas is telling us that there's going to be goals scored for sure. And Cale Makar is probably going to be taking a lot of shots to help with that over hitting. The Avalanche it's small money line favorites -120 on BetMGM if you're looking that way. All right, any other? Let's the board is yours. Any games, props, anything you want to dive into? What's one of your bets tonight?
Yes, I am looking at Edmonton and Toronto. I get to watch 2 of the premier goal scorers in the NHL, and Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid go head to head. I also get to watch whoever trucks out for the Leafs in goal tonight get absolutely obliterated because, like, as Martin Jones was good for, I think, 15 minutes, and then he came back down to earth. Ilya Samsonov played a strong game last game, but he did not win, and that has been very consistent with him and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sheldon Keefe did a whole bunch of line, juggling. He basically put everybody in a blender and then started throwing players out and playing with who. He's gone back to what he knows works, so Marner will join Matthews on the top line. Tavares and Nylander will play together. Whichever other players join them, cool. But the Edmonton Oilers have now won 10 in a row. They are steaming hot right now. Now, they haven't scored a ton of goals in their last couple of games. They didn't look great against Montreal. They didn't look great against Detroit. Those are games that they won, which is good, but you would expect them to come out and just really, really dominate. Now they come back home. We know Toronto's defense is really not that great. They have the upper hand here. And I will take the chance here of the puck line covering here, because in two ways this ends. Maybe this is a close game, and I'm hoping the empty netter goes my way for once. That'd be kind of fun. Or this is just the Edmonton Oilers just steamrolling a below average defense and a goalie that's not very good. Stuart Skinner has been key in this 10-game winning streak. Like, he has not allowed 2 or more goals in the last 5. He has been rock solid. So I'm not as worried about him giving up goals. I think he can keep that to a minimum. And then I think it's just Edmonton rolling out their best players when they get their power play opportunities, capitalize. Like, you're not slowing down McDavid. It's the same thing like, McKinnon and, McCarr. You're just hoping they don't burn you. And they've been burning a lot of people quite frequently. So I trust McDavid. I trust Draisaitl. I trust the gang over there to be able to at least have some quality chances, and hopefully those end up in net tonight. I think Martin Jones is going to get the start, so that's always fun to bet against him because you should. So that's how I want to roll here. I'm also going to roll with Taylor Radish. We're going to look at the Chicago Blackhawks because they are playing San Jose. So obviously this is the game of the night that everybody will be tuning in to watch, because why wouldn't you want to watch 2 of the worst hockey teams play? But having said that, like, San Jose is just not very good defensively. They're going to give up their scoring chances. And, Chicago is dealing with their fair share of injuries, which is fine. But this team comes out and they put their work boots on. They get to work. They go out there and they just play a team system, which is, hey, we have to try, because the only other option is that they're just going to get obliterated. They're a little bit better at home. Peter Mrazek keeps them in games, but they don't have any superstar in that lineup. That is a bunch of just misfits put together. I mean, Rem Pitlick's on the top line. If you're in the arena, you may get a 4th line shift at some point. But Taylor Radish here, like, his over in his shot prop is 1.5. So I figure that it is quite easy for him to at least generate 2 shots on goal against a San Jose Sharks team that just doesn't defend well. He's going to see power play time. He's playing in the top 6. It's all the things that we like to see from players, right? The volume is there for him. There's nobody else. So I think he can get there. It's more than doable. He's done it a couple of times in the last 5 games as well. 1.5 is not it's not asking too much here from him. I think that's, very much possible for him. So that's how I'm rocking today here. I'm trying to see if, the shot props get me to where I need to be, and if the Edmonton Oilers can just fill the net.
Yeah, well, there's something to be said about going for a player prop, even when it's involving 2 of the worst teams in the league, but 2 of the worst teams in action tonight. You're still got to lean on that game. Yeah, you mentioned you like Edmonton, so you said you like the puck line, right? That on BetMGM, that's plus 145 right now on the puck line, minus 150 on the money line. But you like getting the little plus money to win by 2 there, obviously.
I'm betting on the empty net here. I think this game is going to be close. It's going to go 2 ways, right? So, I mean, Edmonton has kept it close, which I don't think is what they're going to continue to do. There's just too much skill up front here for them not to be able to pound away at Martin Jones and that below average defensive core. The Leafs are not great defensively. Their goalies get exposed a lot. And if you give Connor McDavid, 3/4 of an inch, he is going to take 6 miles and probably put you on a highlight reel, as he should. So yeah. The only other option for me would be to take them in regulation. And at that point, it's kind of a toss up here. This game, if it goes to overtime, then you lose anyway. So I'm banking on this game being relatively close. I'd like it to be a blowout, something like 5-6-1, so I can sleep easy at night. But if not, I'll take the puck line. Edmonton can cover it. They are out there to score goals, and Stuart Skinner's play has also made that possible. So even if Edmonton doesn't score 5 or 6, well, if Stuart Skinner's not giving up any goals, Edmonton does what they need to do. Goal per period, you win 3-1, good enough for me. I'll take it. But I'd like to I'd like to not sweat this out. Not tonight.
I feel that. The game of the night, arguably in the NHL, is Kings Stars. Right, this is one of the big games tonight. Do you have any picks on this game? Because it should be, it's the money lines are tight here. It should be a good game to watch. Obviously, any picks on that one or anything else out there that you like?
I looked at it, and I mean the Kings are a mess right now. This team has forgotten what they needed to do to get good. Cam Talbot's going to get the start, so I think that obviously helps them here. But they played better of late, but they still look like a shell of what they were. This was a team that had not lost on the road. I mean, and we were well into the month of November, and now they don't seem like they'll be able to win a game just because it's not working for them. So I can't trust LA to cover anything because I can't trust them per se to get it done. On the flip side here, like Dallas is really, really good at home. Like they are elite. They're deep. They can definitely play with the best here. But defensively, this team without Miro Heiskanen is definitely a task here. That defensive core is not elite by any standards. I expect Jake Ottinger to get the start here. I think he will. He was not very good coming back from injury. There's too much risk on that side as well. Like that money line is it's close, but it's a toss up at that point. Like if the Kings do what they need to do, being as good as they are on the road, then they win. And then it kind of mutes whatever Dallas. I think this is a game that goes back and forth quite a bit. If I had a play, I would probably play the under here, kind of letting both teams try to figure each other out. This is going to be a blowout. I'm not expecting 7, 8, 9 goals. If anything, I'll take the under and say, hey, these teams are going to battle it out. Maybe it finishes 1-1 and you go to a shootout and you collect your money that way. But there's so many just little things that I'm not ready to bet on or I'm not willing to get behind. I'll lean on the under. That's about as far as I'll go. But I would much rather sweat out 2 shots from Taylor Radish instead of having to sweat out whatever the Kings and Stars are going to do. There's like 2 good teams. They'll play well, but I mean, it's hard to trust them.
Yeah, that's and I see that game's streaming on Hulu if people wanted to watch that. So you can just tune in and watch that for fun. Before we let you go, any other props bets you wanted to throw out before we get out of here?
I have gone out of my that's what I'm looking at. These are the ones that I feel strongly about. These are the ones that I'll bet myself. So these are the ones that I'm going to sit down with my popcorn at some point. I'm going to watch San Jose and Chicago on an 8-game slate because I mean, that's where we are right now. I'm going to watch Martin Jones get lit up here. I'm going to watch, Ottawa just do whatever they got to do there. There were some other close calls there. Nothing that really kind of tickles my wild here. So I think with those 3 and the lean here, depending on the goaltending situation, if maybe Scott Wedgwood gets the call there for whatever reason or something late, then maybe I'll flip and go the other way. But I think those games give everybody enough that needs to be out of there. I mean, you may want to entertain. I think Arizona is out here tonight doing something that doesn't really matter. They're out. Who is Arizona? They're playing Calgary at home. Calgary has been a little bit better. I don't really love it. The rest of that slate has, like you said, a lot of back-to-backs. They can go either way here. I can't trust the Rangers because Seattle is that good. I mean, I'm already watching 1 below average game, so I don't want to watch Washington and Anaheim as well. That game can kind of go on. And then, the New York Islanders and the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets are just a whole lot better. The Islanders didn't look really good.
Yeah.
I mean, again, nothing's tickled me here.
No, we always say on this show, don't throw out bets or bet things that you're not comfortable with or you don't want. You're not betting yourself, to just to tout a pick. So I appreciate you do, you got your few picks here that you centered in on. So
this is the ship we're going down with together tonight. We're going down with San Jose and Chicago on a Tuesday.
And Edmonton on the puck line,
Edmonton on the puck line.
There you go.
Night great, yeah.
If you haven't already, go follow Chris at FuzzyChris91 on Twitter. And you could see all of his DFS season-long work over on fantasyalarm.com. Get the All-Pro subscription to get his DFS playbooks there. But you and our producer Adam Bernard and Anthony Rivera on the Better Hockey Now show. I think a new episode coming out later tonight or tomorrow morning, right?
That is correct. We can talk more about, San Jose and the rest of the gang and, just all of that. Make sure you tune into there. Make sure you head over to the NHL DFS Discord so we can answer all your questions, so we can pick the wrong goalie together.
There you go. But yeah, the Better Hockey Now episode, if you haven't seen that already, coming out on the YouTubes over on Fantasy Alarm and Bettor Sports Network. So stay tuned for that to see more of Chris talking hockey. Awesome stuff, man, today. Appreciate you jumping in for a few minutes here. We'll have you on again soon because this has been awesome. And go Edmonton and hopefully that bad team matchup with San Jose and Chicago won't be too bad, at least for your prop, right?
I'll crack open a cold one. I'll wait till he hits his 2 shots, and then I just move on to whatever else is going on there. Maybe let the dog out. I don't know, something like that. But that's what we're rooting for here. And Cale Makar. That's all we really care about.
And Cale Makar. All right, Chris, man. We'll catch you later, man. Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
Let's flip gears here and talk some college basketball and bring on our guy, Pete Cole. He is me and him are the college sports duo at Fantasy Alarm. I'm sure if you are following the college football or college basketball stuff we do there, you've seen Pete's work with the DFS playbooks, and we're bringing him on here to talk some betting for Tuesday night. What's up, Pete? How you doing?
What's up, Servo? Can you hear me now?
We got you. The audio is clear.
Finally. I was worried. I was sitting for 10 minutes worried. It's good to be on finally.
Yeah, sorry to with all those mix-ups, but we're happy to have you on, man. With the NFL winding down, college football now over, we're going to be talking a lot of college basketball on this show, and so it's good to have Pete on moving forward. Tonight,
good week last week too, right? You had a good week last week here too. The week I was supposed to be on.
Well, some of your picks that I kind of mentioned, you hit us on some of those as well. So let's keep it going because, this Tuesday night slate is pretty packed with a lot of good conference games now that we're into conference season here. One game you wanted to touch on first is this St. John's Seton Hall matchup. It's a really good Big East matchup. Both St. John's and Seton Hall have been, at near the top of the Big East standings. Seton Hall, I guess, more surprisingly, pulling off some wins lately. You like St. John's though in this game?
Yeah, it's what's really cool. This is like the old Big East. I'm coming up from the '80s. When Big East was king, and I'm feeling that again right now with that toughness. They're so physical right now, and Rick Pitino is actually. He's actually making St. John's defend right now. Seton Hall is that old school, tough, physical team. I love the St. John's team right now. And I love them. You see the game was the last Saturday against Creighton. I mean, they looked really good. They should have won that game. Dennis Jenkins, I'm a huge fan of him. And, I mean, just going back to summertime, remember the Walter Clayton, everybody was making a big deal as Walter Clayton went to Florida. And quietly, his backcourt mate Jenkins came right with Pitino to St. John's, and he's actually probably, besides Soriano, Joe Soriano is their team MVP, but I think Dennis Jenkins is probably one of the most important players on that team right now. I mean, he's so fearless right now, and it was too bad the other day he should have pulled that rebound down. I mean, that was a huge part of the game when they lost. He wasn't able to come down that board, but there's a couple fouls there. It could have went very easily, went the other way. So I'm looking right now. I think they're in Seton Hall. I mean they're favored on the road. What do we have right now? I think it's 2.5 right now. I think
1.5 at BetMGM if you want that.
If it's 1.5, I got St. John's. They're too good right now. I said the Big East is back right now, and I really think St. John's right now with the way they're playing with Joe Soriano. You got Chris Ledham's back, right? Ledham from Hartford. I mean, he's been. I think he had a double-double in the Butler game, double-double. RJ Lewis coming from UMass. Lewis is really, I think he's going to become, come March, he's going to be one of the most important players right now. And I think he came 3 weeks ago. He had some injuries. Definitely right now, St. John's is. I think they're going to roll over. They're going to definitely beat the spread. Right, they're scoring almost 79 points a game. 45% shooting. They're allowing 70 points. I mean, we know how they run. I mean, they're a fast team, and they're 4-2 in the record. So I mean, hey, you can't take anything away from Holloway either. What he's done with his team, and Kadari Richmond's really good. But definitely right now, I'm all over St. John's, all over them right now. In next probably 2 or 3 games right now. So I think they won 5 straight, I guess, right? 4 in conference play before they blew that game on the road against Creighton. So they're coming to Jersey tonight ready to roll.
Yeah, I like this pick a lot because you mentioned they should have and could have beaten Creighton on the road last game. They lost only by 4 to UConn on the road earlier in conference play, but they went on the road and won by double digits at Villanova. Like, this team is not back down and been, usually we see these road teams all over conference play just going on the road and getting beat no matter how good they are. But St. John's has been really up for the task. And Seton Hall's a team where I think this spread's low because Seton Hall has been so good lately and they've pulled off upsets. They're covering spreads left and right. But I just think St. John's is just a little bit a tick above right now. And I feel like this is a nice, kind of sell high on Seton Hall and grab the Johnnies on the road. I like that call.
And Seton Hall, I mean, they're playing definitely above and beyond right now. And they do attack above the rim. I mean, and they do, they'll defend a couple of bit. All right. But still, the Cinderella, it's coming to an end here. Definitely. And Seton Hall is not the team that they're playing way above. St. John's today. And that actually brings us in, if you want to switch, because I just came up with this one stat. It was, I guess what's the name? Evan McAwaya. He's like a Metris guy. And I just saw this stat come up. I mean, winning on the road in high major is hard. So home teams right now in the top 7 conferences are winning 66% of the time in league play. And last year was only 61%. So, we got Syracuse right now rolling into Pitt. And yes, Syracuse won the first game at the Dome, but this is a whole different game now, so I like Pittsburgh to win tonight against Syracuse in Pitt. Remember the last game, Syracuse was down by 8 points at halftime, I think it was. And they came back from 9-point deficit. I think had 12 steals. So, and we can't expect another poor night shooting from Blake Hinson. Blake Hinson's one of my top prop guys tonight too. So I'm all over Pittsburgh, especially. I mean, Syracuse got bombed by North Carolina, and that just wasn't a normal defeat. I mean, they got killed by Carolina, so they got to forget about that. I don't think they're gonna. I mean, a lot of turnovers. They're gonna find a way to consistently score tonight, and that's not gonna happen. I mean, Pittsburgh's got their home environment. I don't think the momentum's gonna be able to swing that way like Syracuse, like it did in the Dome. And I'm a big Syracuse fan. I mean, so that's my team, but I do not think Blake Hinson's gonna go crazy tonight. He's one of my top plays tonight.
The fact that you are a Syracuse fan and you are still fading them tonight, you just think Pittsburgh. So the spread 6.5.
It's a tough one.
I think they get covered though, because I'm looking back at Syracuse. I didn't realize this. Just looking at their road games this year, and you just mentioned at the start was that these road, high major road teams are just losing left and right here. And losing big sometimes. And Syracuse has been one of those teams. They lost by like 40 on the road at North Carolina over the weekend, lost by 20 on the road at Duke. They beat Georgetown on the road, but whatever. Georgetown's not a good team. But they lost by 22 on the road at Virginia. And those are their road games this year. So they have not proven that they can keep it close on the road against a formidable opponent.
You said, so they're 0-3 ACC on the road, and they're being outscored by an average of 26 points. Now, they're 2-0 at home, okay, and they're outscoring, I think I saw it by 9 points, outscoring at home. But they're being outscored by an average of 26 points. And, hey, I mean, I know everybody's used to Jim Boeheim. Adrian Autry's coming now, former guard. And we don't see, remember we used to seeing that, that traditional 2-3 zone. Now all of a sudden for 40 minutes, we're seeing man-to-man, for half the game, 3/4 of the game, which is a big difference too. But I said I love Syracuse. I wish I could say Syracuse is going to win tonight, but I'm all over Pitt tonight. I think Pitt's got a decent. I guess he Pitt 9 points or above, really. think I'm crazy, but
yeah.
so
Looking
so I'm
back at
reading it.
these teams' recent history, series history, Pitt has won and covered 5 of the last 7 games, going back the last few years here. So this is a team that's, especially at home, when Pitt's at home, they've covered their last 3, won and covered. So and some of those have been double-digit wins. So I like this
Exactly.
call. And you said Blake Hinson has struggled lately. His shot has not been there, but you do what's like the prop that you do like with him?
I mean, of course, you always want to play these guys against, the Syracuse front court. Last game, he went a Syracuse game. Last game, he was 3 for 12 from the field, 1 for 7 from the 3. Blake Hinson's not going to go 1 for 7 from the 3 tonight. There's no way. So the prop is 22.5. The 22.5 points, rebounds, assists. I'll take the over on that. And I don't mind taking the over on 16.5 right now. 16.5 points. Now he had 21 against Louisville. He hasn't hit 16.5 since mid December. But this is a different type of game. Duke had 9 points. So I'll take that as a wash also. So I could see a 22 point game, 3-4 rebound for Hinson tonight. You always play the series. He's gonna be real popular in DFS tonight too, especially that he's real cheap on DFS. I think 6.5 in DraftKings, 6,500. So Hinson's by far one of my top props, because I know that we're going to mention in a second. He's not going to go 1 for 7, like I said. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, he's a nice little buy low candidate there.
Yes.
Blake Hinson. All right, and then going over to the Alabama-Missouri game, you like a Grant Nelson prop in this one?
Yeah. So this morning I was just looking at KenPom a little bit. You see Missouri's team rebounding. So right now their offensive board 28.5%, which is 204 in the country. On the defensive side, 34%, 323.
Pretty bad.
So I mean, this is one of the worst, defensive rebounding teams in the country. But so let's enter Grant Nelson. I mean, Grant Nelson is not having a good year so far, right? I mean, he really isn't. But last game, now remember we played for North Dakota State. I mean, last year he averaged pretty much a double-double. Yeah. He was having 12. So last year was 17.5 points and 9.3 rebounds per game. As he's playing out right now, absolutely not for Alabama. But this is the type of game I think for Nelson. And I was looking now. The last game was against Mississippi State. So Tolu Smith's in there, great center for Mississippi State. And you had Nick Pringle in there, Mohamed Wag, both I think came into foul trouble. And what happened was Nate Oates turned around in there, and Nelson, was like 6'11", who typically starts at the 4. He slid him down to the 5, and he probably had he had his best game for Alabama by far. Yeah. So he held Tolu Smith to 5 for 15 shooting. And when you're going up against a team like Missouri, who is with that kind of, with 34% defense rebounding rate, there's no way. I mean, Grant Nelson should definitely have a double take. That's like my tie. Blake Hinson, that's my top pick. Is a double from Grant Nelson, and he hasn't really shown that yet. Besides, a couple games there, I don't think he's had double yet this year. He hasn't, actually. I'm looking at it. So first double tonight for Grant Nelson.
He's calling it. Yeah, he's at a few or a couple
9s.
Yeah, 9 and 8s.
Yep.
But has just missed the double. But yeah, as you said, this is a guy that did this regularly last year.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. He's going to play the minutes, so he's going to get 30 minutes. He's definitely a better player than his other, able to have on that team here. I'm not a big Pringle fan anyways. A lot of people are, but this is playing into his game right here. So
yeah, and and the thing with Mizzou, as you were saying, like their rebounding is down, but they have Connor Vanover at center, 7'5". This guy, he likes to stay in the paint, and he's a shot blocker. He's not like when Grant Nelson, kind of pops out for some threes, or just like in the mid range, or even just gets Vanover out of position. Now he's scoring inside. Like that could be a mismatch. And then Mizzou, outside of Vanover, he's 7'5", but outside of him, you look at the rest of their kind of front court rotation, they don't have a ton of size there.
That's good, right? You got Sean East, like 6'3", 6'4". I'm not sure if he's even 6'4". Noah Carter, maybe Noah Carter is a couple inches bigger. And I like both those guys tonight, Carter and East. Yeah. Everyone talk DFS is off, but if Grant Nelson's going to have a game for Bama, it's tonight. It's by far tonight. It doesn't matter if they're, it doesn't matter where they're playing, but this is a Grant Nelson game by far.
Yeah, and this is a high total game too.
Very high total.
159, 160. It's been around. So the props in this one should be a lot of them cashing. So I like that call.
I just noticed Mark Sears. I don't mind a Mark Sears over 20.5 points scored. So, and this is almost a dream matchup for Sears, I think, and this game also. So Missouri struggles, and I can't remember. I saw it though. I see Missouri struggles against pick and roll too. So, and that's Mark Sears at his best. And Mark Sears is elite pick and roll shooter. So you want to take that over. I think the last I saw was 20.5. So you can take the over on that one too.
I like that one. Sears has been rolling for Alabama.
He's like the most consistent guy. Anybody I've been playing all year, like in DFS too, and props has been Mark Sears. This is the Mark Sears we saw before he came to Bama. Yeah,
and the pick and roll, as you said, I mean, it could be a lot of Nelson and Sears just in that pick and roll.
Exactly. Mark Sears could explode tonight. He's having a great season as it is, but we could see a career night from Sears also.
Pete, I want to throw out a bet that I got tonight. By the way, before you came on, I threw out Indiana at home to cover against Purdue. Do you like that or no?
Yes, no, I do, and I like because they're playing at home, right? And I was as you were talking, I was looking something up quick. Now they've also gone. Woodson's gone 3-1 against 4-1 against 4-0 against the spread.
4-0 against the spread and 3-1 straight up. Spread.
There you go. And they're playing, they're playing home. So, they got that long athletic front court. I mean, we know these big guys they have. I love that pick, actually. When I picked it up as soon as I came on, I said, yep, that's my pick. Definitely.
Right.
I have 9.5 right now, right? Is that what you have?
Yeah, 9.5.
9.5.
Obviously would like if it's like 10.5 if you can get, but I just don't think that Purdue's going to blow them out.
No, Indiana's a better team than people see right now too. I think they're a much talented team than people actually think. And I think I think Mike Woodson's actually not done a bad job, and he'll have prepared against Purdue tonight at home.
The other bet I want to throw at you because I like this one is Cincinnati at home against TCU. So the newcomers of the Big 12, their money line minus 155 on BetMGM. I don't mind that. You can look at their spread, but I think the minus 155 isn't too bad to grab in the money line. But I'm looking at TCU. They're coming off 2 big wins against Houston and Oklahoma, both at home. But I think going on the road to the Cincinnati home court is a good advantage for Cincy, and just them being like the newcomers of the Big 12. I feel like they really want to get this first home win because they lost by 1 to Texas and they lost by 3 to Baylor in their past 2 games. But those are like respectable losses. Obviously, they probably should have beaten Texas at home, but they had that really good road win at BYU as well. Yep. I just think this is a good opportunity for Cincinnati to get back on track, coming back home. And TCU is a kind of a team that's on the road last year. Looked 3-7. They went on the road in Big 12 play last year. So the team that struggled on the road last year, I think Cincinnati, they have the size with Victor Lakin and Jameel Reynolds has been playing a little bit more and better for them down low. I feel like that could be a difference in this game.
Yeah, I was looking at this as one of my picks because this is definite flat spot for TCU. I can see. Yeah. And you look at Cincinnati's recent schedule. They played 4 straight games against ranked opponents. So yeah, and I just saw somewhere you haven't seen that in like 20 years or more than 20 years. So I think Wes Miller and others done a good job. They had real, like you just mentioned, BYU. That was a real impressive win against them, and they got a good defense. And so I could definitely flat spot. And we're not sure about is Bandago, is he going to go or not? But I'm a big Lakin fan. I've been a Lakin fan for a while. And then we also CJ Frederick's also, I think, questionable also. But yes, flat spot for TCU. I'm glad you said that. That's another one of my top picks.
Yeah, the Bandago and Frederick are both kind of questionable, but I mean they've been playing okay without them in these past few games.
Yeah, CJ Fredericks, I don't know. He's about. He don't need him. So I'm glad you brought that up though. And Cincinnati, I mean, I think they've been playing well in the conference, and all the games are close anyway. So they're playing tough teams. That BYU was a good win.
Yeah. And I think, just with them being because they in their next few games here, this is a home game against TCU, but their next 2 games are Oklahoma and Kansas. Both just, I think, tougher matchups. Like, this is the game that they need to get. They need to get this win. But Wes Miller, I like the way he's got the team going in the first season in the Big 12.
I think Wes Miller's good. I like Wes Miller. I think he's a good coach.
Yeah.
So there was one other game I mentioned I thought I saw, but I can't remember. It was a Florida Tennessee game. I like the over and taking the over Florida Tennessee.
I like that too.
Yeah.
That's a game. That's a game where the start time got moved to 5 Eastern.
That's what it's 5:00 now.
With the snow affecting that, I guess, and they moved it up now. So if you're looking to bet on that, 5 p.m. Eastern is Florida, Tennessee. It was, I think, 7 Eastern.
And the Connect prop, take over and Connect. I just saw, I think that was like 16.5 real points.
Yeah, he's heated up lately. He's been doing a lot better.
17.5 now. I think it was 16.5 earlier. I don't mind. I would still take the over on that. So I'll probably roll that up at some point today too.
Pete, it's been awesome, man. Appreciate you jumping on here for a few minutes. If you haven't followed Pete already on Twitter, go do that at YFC Sports Pete. And then you can follow all of his college basketball work over at Fantasy Alarm. Me and him are tag teaming on the DFS coverage there. But if you were following college football at all, you saw all of his coverage as well. So, go follow Pete on Twitter and check out his work at Fantasy Alarm. And we'll have you on again on this show because this has been awesome. And I know I'll be rooting for you with some of your picks tonight because I'm locking in some of your bets that you made.
I want to say go Orange, but this is one of the rare times I'm actually going against them. So it's a Pittsburgh win.
There you go.
All right.
All right, Pete. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, man.
So that's Pete Call. And good luck with all your own bets tonight. I got a few others. I'm not going to go into depth here, but I do like New Mexico tonight. If you want to look at that against Utah State, I like Kansas State against Baylor. So those are 2 that I'll be on if you want some more college action. But Pete likes St. John's and Pitt, and I'm with him on both those games. So that's some college hoops. If you missed any for the earlier part of this show, we did a little reaction to the wild card, but NHL bets with Chris Morais was a nice little segment there in the middle. Tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern, NBA DFS Live with John Mpemba and James Grande. So stay tuned for that and get your DFS lineups in. And keep it locked here on Bettor Sports Betting all week long. We're covering a little bit of all the sports now, NHL, NBA, college basketball, but probably dip our toes into some MMA and some other sports too. Now that we're wrapping up the NFL season soon. So stay tuned and appreciate everyone jumping in on a Tuesday here and tuning in here. Fantasy Alarm, Bettor Sports Network. We'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern here as always. And we'll hand out some winners again tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But good luck with your bets tonight and take care.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.